Okay, this is Armand from VAC Motorsports making a video explaining how to do steering column lock assembly on a Mercedes 140 chassis. These are basically the components. This is the lock assembly part number. This is the switch housing, and you can see the one end in here. The lock cylinder goes in here. This is the electrical part. It can be removed by pressing this little tab in here. There's this little tab right here on the end. It's spring loaded. And you press this little thing and push, and the switch slides out of the housing. So that's one thing. And as far as getting this assembly off of the lock, this goes in the steering column. There's a special bolt that goes through here, and it releases this lock that holds the steering column. This is the switch assembly, and it snaps onto these little metal tabs in here. Okay, you can see the holes here will line up. These holes will line up when it snaps on. And the trick to getting them off, separating them, everything has a timing or a position, and everything is designed to be snapped together and released only in the first position, the ignition position, where you turn the key and go to position, I think they call it position 1. Obviously it's not the starting position, position 1. At that point you can insert a little wire to release the lock cylinder, and this is another piece of it here to explain. The inside here goes the electrical switch, and on the end here is the cylinder where you see where you insert the key, and there's a little teeny hole in this edge that has to be, the key has to be inserted and rotated to the first position. At that point everything comes apart. This metal cover releases, then the cylinder comes out, then you can, the only way you're going to be able to release this plastic housing from the lock assembly is to squeeze these tabs, and these tabs will not release unless you are in the first position. So the main trick I'll tell everybody here is do not attempt, this assembly comes together all as one, the switch, the plastic housing, and the lock, without the cylinder. It all comes as one piece, so it's basically 3 large pieces, and they are meant to stay clocked and timed as they came from the factory. Do not attempt to turn them, do not attempt to play with them. You can just release this, put this piece in, put the bolt through it, snap this on, put the cylinder in, and then of course you're going to have to also add in one factor I didn't mention is the there's a little cable here for the shifter that allows you to remove the key. Otherwise won't, you'll have trouble and you'll be wondering what's going on. There's a cable here that needs to be installed, or you can use a little screwdriver or pen or something to push it in to allow you to remove the key and allow you to rotate the key back to the lock position to pull it out. That's another factor. So there's really lots of little factors that play a role in this complex ignition assembly. But the main trick, you will be replacing this lock twice if you attempt to turn any piece by itself. Obviously this will turn okay by itself, but this is the sucker here. This is the one that is never happy if you attempt to turn it while it's not installed with this and the cylinder and everything together. It will internally, it kind of like self-destructs. It's a pretty wild design. So how it assembles into the car, the easiest way is remove the cover under the dash to gain access there. I'll attempt to give you an upward shot. That's the bottom. But also remove the instrument cluster, and from there you can see where the lock assembly goes. Okay, and it's a pain to reach that bolt back there in that corner. Okay, but here's a black ignition switch. over here, and there down here is the metal locking assembly. So you could see how they fit. And this job is done. Once I just tested everything's working, I'll put the cluster back together, and that is it. Take care.